He'll reset. Nowitzki again for the lead. Bang!
What's up, Mavs fans? Welcome into today's episode of All Things Mavs. I'm breaking down the clutch win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. A win that shouldn't have been clutch, but it was. A win's a win, right? But there's some reasons for concern after this one. I'm going to focus heavily on the positives, as you guys know I do on All Things Mavs. I'm going to try to stay upbeat, but Dallas was up by as many as 22 points, I believe. Minnesota got this all the way down to 5 points in the fourth quarter, and Dallas tried as hard as they could to blow this game. Now, they didn't. They held on. Josh Richardson hit a clutch basket. He also hit some clutch free throws. Luka hit a clutch bucket. He wasn't great offensively during the game, but he picked it up late, and the Mavs pulled this one out and still won by 5, 127-122. They're on their first win streak in a while. They have now won 2 straight games. That's good news. I'm going to focus on that. They're inching closer to 500, and if you guys are following along, I am growing out there's obviously nothing there right now, but I'm growing out the 500 stash, so until the Mavs get back to 500, I will not be shaving. But, Dallas won the game. That's good. And there were some positives to take away. But I'm going to let you know straight up right now, this game should not have been as close as it was. And I don't know if it was just a lack of care, if it was just taking your foot off the gas, or honestly, if it was a lack of veteran leadership for this team. I'm not really sure, but this is another situation, or even, you can also question coaching a little bit. It's another situation in which Dallas has a lead and they just kind of blow it at the end. I tweeted out earlier today when by the way, the Timberwolves didn't have Karl-Anthony Towns or Jarrett Culver, and D'Angelo Russell only played 6 minutes before going down because he was listed as questionable before the game. I tweeted out when all those injuries came out that the Mavs fans deserve a blowout win. And I thought we were going to get it until the fourth quarter came along, and the Timberwolves outscored the Mavs 45-32 in the fourth quarter. So, not a great finish, but a win is a win is a win. So, let's break down the box score, and then I'll tell you about some guys that really stood out to me in this game, especially Kristaps Porzingis. Let's get into it. The Dallas Mavericks leading scorer was KP, the Unicorn, 27 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. He had 6 blocked shots. And the key for Kristaps Porzingis in this game was the hot start that he got off to. Naz Reid was defending him because Karl-Anthony Towns was out. Naz Reid is a slower big man. And Porzingis took him off the dribble a few times. He knocked down some deep three-pointers from the logo. He had a nice crossover finish. And the biggest improvement that I saw from KP in this game was his defensive effort. His offense has been there as of late. The defense still doesn't come around. And this was his best defensive effort. Also a great rebounding night with 13 boards, 4 of 7 from 3. I'll talk more about the individuals here in just a moment, but I want to finish up the box score for you. Next up was Luka Doncic, 26 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. He didn't have a whole lot of points going into the fourth quarter, and then he kind of turned it on late, had some free throws, got to the bucket really well. This was his 11th straight game with 25-plus points. That's ridiculous, and he almost didn't even have it. I believe he had 13 going into the fourth, so he scored his final 13 points in that fourth quarter, and Dallas still wasn't very good in the fourth. 24 points off the bench for the man that I'm starting the 6th Man of the Year campaign for tonight. It's Tim Hardaway Jr. Great night from him off the bench. 24 points as your third leading scorer. Josh Richardson with 18 points, 8 assists to lead the team, and 5 rebounds. He was 6 of 10 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. Again, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. The Mavs' best free throw shooter. And then next up, Dwight Powell had a nice night. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. I'm not going to go super in depth with Dwight Powell, so I'll talk about him right now. Listen, Powell in this limited role has been a lot better for the Mavs. And honestly, I think him seeing Willie Cauley-Stein kind of being a bit more successful might have pushed him into playing as hard as he has been lately. He was almost a team high plus 11 off the bench. I was really happy with the minutes we got from Dwight Powell. 7 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists for Dorian Finney-Smith. 5 points, 3 rebounds for Maxi Kleber in just 25 minutes. The Timberwolves were a little bit undersized, so Maxi really didn't have a big role in this game. 19 minutes for Jalen Brunson. He only had 3 points, but he did have 6 assists and 3 rebounds. He was passing the ball beautifully tonight off the bench. Team high, plus 16 in the plus-minus box score. And then Wes Iwundu played 5 minutes. I don't know why. I would have rather seen Josh Green out there personally, but Wes Iwundu played 5 minutes, didn't score. Trey Burke had 8 minutes, and again, we've seen these really, really limited minutes for Trey Burke for whatever reason, but he's done well with them. He had 5 points, he had a couple good defensive possessions as well, and drew a charge, I believe, too. And he had an assist and a rebound. So good 8-minute stretch there from Trey Burke. And I believe that is it. Boban Marjanovic, James Johnson, Willie Cauley-Stein, and Josh Green all did not play in this game. But I want to kind of get into the individuals here. I'm going to start off with Kristaps Porzingis, who, if you guys have been subscribed to the channel, which if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe today. I need to start talking about that at the top of the show because that's when the most of you guys are watching. Make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. I'm inching closer to 4,000 subs. Anyway, if you are a loyal subscriber, you know darn well that I have been preaching patience with Porzingis. I'm going to make a t-shirt that says preaching patience with Porzingis and then put, I don't know, Porzingis in a little priest robe on the back or something. But long story short, his games as of late have really started to turn around, and tonight was his best defensive effort so far this year when he had 6 blocks. He was also just more active defensively, and rebounding-wise, he did really, really well too, as he led the team with 13 rebounds, which ties a season high for him. He had 13 rebounds back in that game against Indiana, which was also 27 points for him that night. Best game for Porzingis so far, and by far the best rebounding defensive effort. I love the minutes that I got from him. You look at Porzingis lately. So he had that inactive against Phoenix in which he did not play. Everyone kind of freaked out. And then since that game, second game back against Phoenix, he has 19 points and 10 rebounds and 3 blocks. Then after that at Atlanta, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, no blocks in that one. After that against Golden State, the first game around, 25 points, 3 assists, 2 blocked shots, 5 rebounds. We were frustrated he didn't post up, but he still had a good game. And then after that, against Golden State, the second time around was a big rebounding night. He had 18 points and 10 boards and 3 assists. And then you look at tonight where he had 27 points, 13 rebounds and 6 blocked shots. Porzingis is a guy that needs to warm up, and it's happened all throughout his career that he warms up throughout the season, especially coming off an injury. I mean, guys, he didn't play the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games of the season. You had to give the guy a chance to warm up, and now he's doing that, and he's looking like an all-star. So I was extremely happy with Kristaps Porzingis. I still think he could have taken advantage a little bit better in the post, but he didn't really need to tonight. I mean, he scored a lot from the post. He looked pretty darn good, and he got in there and mixed it up, but he was 4 of 7 from 3. That's the three-point shooting you need from Porzingis. Really happy with his night. And then you look at Josh Richardson, another guy that a lot of people were frustrated with because they saw Seth Curry doing well, excuse me. But now Josh Richardson, he's had really 4 of the last 5 games have been really, really solid from him. You look at that game against Phoenix, you know, he had a really slow start out of the gates after returning from COVID. He went 6 points, and then 9 points. And then after that, 24 points in that loss against Phoenix, 14 points and 6 rebounds in that win against Atlanta, and he really started off that game hot. After that, a bad game against Golden State, but everyone had a bad game, 6 points. And then last game against the Warriors, 17 points. And then tonight, he has 18 points, he hits clutch free throws, and he has 8 assists. He had a lot of on-the-ball playmaking abilities that he doesn't usually have, and they were playing Luka off the ball quite a bit. Now, Luka struggled early on, and it didn't look like it was really working, but later on in the fourth, Josh Richardson was playing on the ball, Luka was playing off of it, and Luka got his buckets in the fourth, and that was really, really important. And so I've been really encouraged with Josh Richardson. He's also been playing so well defensively. Obviously, he got cooked by Steph, but everyone gets cooked by Steph, and so I was really happy with him in this game, and I've been happy with him, honestly, the past, like I said, 4 out of the last 5 games. And then you talk about Luka Doncic, and I mean, I can't go one game without talking about the kid, but especially the last 11 games. Here are Luka Doncic's last 11 games scoring-wise. I'm not even going to get into the points and rebounds because that's just too many big numbers. But here you go. 36 points, 26 points, 35 points, 30 points, 25 points, 29 points, 25 points, 27 points, 27 points, just had 42 points the other night to tie his career high, and then tonight he finishes with 26 points. If the Mavs can go on a little winning streak here, if they can get back over 500, if they can creep into the top 5 of the Western Conference somehow, Luka Doncic will be back in the MVP candidate conversation just like we all expected. He's definitely an all-star starter in my opinion, but he's kind of out of the MVP conversation because the team has been bad. But now, the Mavs have strung together 2 wins, and they have a chance to win more of those games. And if Luka is at the helm of that, doing what he does every single night, he's going to be back in that MVP conversation. So the game was ugly. The team looked bad in the stretch. First 3 quarters were beautiful. I'd say the first 2.5 quarters were beautiful. Into the third was bad. All of the fourth quarter was bad until the very end. The last minute, Dallas got away with one. It was a bad win. It was an ugly win, is what I'll say. But they won. I mean, no Towns, only 6 minutes of D'Angelo Russell, no Jarrett Culver. It shouldn't have ever gotten below a 10-point game. But it happened, and it's okay. We all walk away unscathed. The Mavs still win. And so, as you continue to look at the schedule, and I know at the beginning of this week, I said if the Mavs don't go at least 3-1 in this week, I'm going to have some issues. That was last week, and I was so worried that when they went 2-2. But now, they have another chance to rattle off some wins. You look at their next few games. Wednesday, they play versus Atlanta at home. And now their fans are allowed back in the arena, which is super exciting. They had 1,500 frontline workers tonight, and Kristaps Porzingis said they could feel the energy. And the Mavs proved that they could those first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, the energy might have died. But they're playing at home again on Wednesday night against the Atlanta Hawks. You've already proven you can beat that team. They won't have DeAndre Hunter. You got to win that game. That one's on ESPN. Next game against the New Orleans Pelicans, Friday, February 12th. That's a game that is a little bit tougher, and I'm expecting to see a lot of big minutes from Maxi Kleber and Kristaps Porzingis, and we might even see a little bit of Boban versus Steven Adams, or maybe Willie Cauley-Stein get some big minutes in that game. That's going to be a tough game for the Mavs front line, but New Orleans hasn't been very good this year. That's still a team I think the Mavs should beat. And then Valentine's Day, they will play Portland, which Portland has been solid. I mean, they haven't been incredible. They're 7th in the West. They're 12-10. It's a beatable team. They don't really have a big to go up with Porzingis, so I think that could be another win. And then you go against Detroit. Dennis Smith Jr. comes back to town on Wednesday, February 17th. That's a game that Dallas absolutely must win. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. They're already on a 2-game winning streak. Dallas could realistically go on a 6-game winning streak. Now, if you kind of want to go those next 4 games, 2-2 is also very possible. If that's the case, it could be better, it could be worse, but, with the way the things are going right now, I think you probably take 2-2. I would prefer you go 3-1 in the next 4 games, and I think that's very realistic because I think Portland is a beatable team, and I think New Orleans is a beatable team. New Orleans isn't good this year. So really, 4-0 is not out of the realm of possibility, which would give the Mavs a 6-game winning streak, and if they do go 4-0, they get back up over 500. That would put them at 15-14. And I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I don't want to go too far into those games, and things can obviously change, and injuries can happen in practice, and yada, yada, yada. But either way, Dallas is starting to figure things out. They've got the 3 quarters figured out. They just got to figure out what is going wrong in the fourth. And that's probably pretty heavily on Rick Carlisle. It wasn't rotations tonight. The rotations were fine in the fourth. It was just players just kind of letting their foot off the gas. And a lot of that is on the coach to kind of get those guys going. So looking at the standings to kind of end this video, Dallas still 11-14, 8.5 games out of first place. But with tonight's win, they have now creeped up. They're 2 games out of 8th place, 2.5 games out of 6th and 7th place, 3.5 games out of 4th and 5th place as the night ends. I haven't looked at all the scores tonight. And then you kind of look a little bit higher. If you want to get up to the top 3, you're 6 games out of that. That's probably not very realistic at this point. But Dallas, again, winners of 2 straight. That's super important. You look at a team like Memphis that has now lost 4 straight games. They're starting to slide a little bit. You look at a team like the Warriors and the Rockets. They've lost 2 straight. They're starting to slide a little bit as well. And then, other teams on the other end, you look at the Warriors or the Pelicans. They've won 3 straight. But Dallas will have to take them on Friday. So a lot of moving parts. Dallas got to win. That's the ultimate takeaway from this one. Not a pretty win. I wish the Mavs would have just kept their foot on the gas. But hey, a win is a win, and the Mavs have now 11 wins in the win column, which is, by the way, just to kind of give you a frame of reference, the Grizzlies, who are currently, let's start actually here. So the Rockets are currently in 9th place. They have 11 wins. The Memphis Grizzlies are in 10th place. They have 9 wins. The New Orleans Pelicans are right there. They have 10 wins. The Oklahoma City Thunder have 10 wins. The Mavs have 11 wins. So they have more wins than 3 of the teams above them and as many wins as another team above them. So you kind of put that into perspective. There's some realistic belief here that the Mavs are going to start turning it around, especially with the improved play of Porzingis, Josh Richardson, and even Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench. Mavs are figuring it out. It's all about that fourth quarter. But ultimately, I think the patience is paying off with guys like Porzingis. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you give this video a like. It means the world when I see as many thumbs up on the videos as I do. And also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, go Mavs, baby.